Oh God, this show is so good. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Thoughts Per Episode, Bleach Thousand Year Blood War Edition. When I started this series, I was a little bit worried that due to the episodes being 20 minutes long and me already having read the manga edition of this storyline, I would have fairly little to talk about in these episodes, but I think I have more to talk about than I did yesterday. We open with an absolutely brilliant shot of our main villain, I'll just say. There's a brilliant shot where it zooms out. You know how sometimes in cinematography you have the whole zoom out and it turns out it was the shot which you thought was the main shot was actually the reflection of a person in a mirror or something like that, like, you know, in that Harry Potter movie Prisoner of Azkaban, I want to say. Well, in this one we have it zoom out of a pool of blood, which was the reflection of him, and I think that's just so brilliant. I don't think that was in the manga. There's actually a few things in this episode which I don't remember being in the manga, which we'll get to, but that is the intro to that wonderful scene of the main villain talking to... I'm trying not to give spoilers, by the way, but the main... It's not really a spoiler, it's just his name, but if they're gonna do like a reveal of it, you know, I wanna make sure it's pretty decent. Actually, they might have already said it and I just missed it, but I'm erring on the side of caution. We see Mr. Mustachio talking to his subordinate Ludas, whose arm he just fucking blasted off in the previous episode. And we are introduced to the scary, calm nature of this man who is all-powerful and doesn't care about life and toys with the emotions of those below him, like making him think it would be okay to sit before him and then implying heavily that it actually wouldn't be, and making him stand even though he's in incredible pain. And then of course just popping heads like he exists in season 3 of The Boys. The way they do that is so visceral. I love it. When you want to adapt a manga to an anime, you want to make sure that you've got good sound design, amazing soundtracks, stuff to really enhance the original panels, and I think the head popping sound, it was great. And then we get the OP, we get the intro, and it's great. It's not like my favorite of all time or anything, but I really like the song. I really like the visual style of like monochromatic and pink. I forget what you call it, but like when you have like, it's monochromatic except for a single color. I think Bleach has done that in the past with some of its colored pages and stuff like that, off the top of my head, or its marketing material, and I just love it every time. It's done really well. It's a good style. There was one flare in the opening which foreshadowed a big revelation later on, which I quite like how they did. At first I was like, oh, they did that a little bit too obviously, and then I thought about it. I was like, oh, it's only obvious because I know it. I think it just looks like a transition. Otherwise I won't get into what it is, of course, but yeah, there's obviously, like every anime ever, there's spoilers in the intro. If you know where to look, don't look too hard. One thing that I liked is that as someone who has read the original manga and wants to know how far we're going to get in season 1, it did kind of highlight where we're going to be at by the end of the season, which was nice. This episode did a great job of building up the feeling of foreboding as news comes through from Soul Society as to the invasion they just had. At first I did think it was a little bit weird that Ichigo doesn't immediately go running off to Soul Society, but then I remembered, I mean, he is like a substitute Shinigami. His job is to kind of stay in Karakura Town, and also I'm pretty sure in a report it did mention that they had already left, so he's probably just like getting ready for a time when he might have to go there. But at first I was like, why the fuck isn't he just going there immediately, you know? That's not a change from the manga either, by the way. I will also be re-experiencing little nuances of this story I've forgotten. I liked that we saw Sado Chad. I always forget which was the official and which was the fan translation, but I love that we see him going jogging. I don't know why, that's just really quaint to me. We also see a funeral scene for Sasakibo. Sasakibe? Oh fuck. We see a funeral scene for him. I don't think that was in the manga, but it might have been. I'm gonna try not to constantly be remembering what's in the manga and what's not, but I like there was like kind of like a sad undertone of a theme there as well. I think that was very important to throw in there to show how sad everyone was about that. I feel like this is definitely a case, if it's not in the manga, of the manga sometimes moves too swiftly and doesn't linger on important deaths and stuff, so hopefully we see more of that. Not that anyone else is going to die, of course. No, I'm sure everything will turn out fine. One thing that I am pretty sure wasn't in the manga, or at least has been extended from what was shown, is the subjugation of Halabel, the actual action of it, I should say. And just seeing Mr. Mustachio's scary villain floating over the top of his army with like power coming out of his hands and everything. I don't know if that particular power of his is something that I just didn't visually pick up on when we did see him later in the manga, but oh man, what a fucking scene of just the oncoming storm, Sternritter theme blasting out loudly. And I liked the little touch that Nell, Pesce, and Dondachaka were also there, and Halibel told them to run. It makes it seem more tragic from her point of view, instead of what I'm pretty sure we get in the manga, which is just a image of her being restrained. I really liked when Ichigo and friends were running through the oh my god, I've forgotten what it's called nowadays. I used to know, but the rip between worlds to get to Hueco Mundo. It looks so much stylistically different. It looks so much better. Before it was pretty much just like a dark cloud area, but now it's like it's actually got some texture to it, and like there's nice lighting coming off of the light that Urahara is providing. We see Urahara in this episode. I forgot to mention he's one of my favorite characters. I grinned like an idiot when he first showed up. Obviously I knew it was coming, but I was like, Urahara's back. The persecution of the Urankar was also shown off really well in this episode, and we have a first instance of strong characters showing up and starting to fight and then getting one shot off screen, which is something that happened a lot in the manga, but I do think it's okay to do it here because it's kind of showing how we don't know what the power of our foe is and how strong is he if he took down these Urankar, who weren't actually that strong to begin with, but Ichigo seems pretty shocked. We see the Urankar Lolly Ivan get smacked in the face and denied once again, which I believe happens to her a few times in the original series. They just love smacking her around. It's kind of unfortunate. I think Grimjow smacks her out the way once. I think Okuiora does it later. It's or maybe it's Yami, I don't remember, but that character sure does get mistreated, and I can't remember if she dies here or not, or if she's just unconscious. It might be the last time we see her though. We also see the return of Halibel's Frakion. They're called Frakion, right? Like the lower level Urankar that are like the lieutenants to the Espada. We see them return. I think they are meant to be a bit stronger than the other two we saw, but yeah, they're the ones who basically get one shot off screen. Quilg Opie has quite an introduction. When I think back on this arc in the manga, he's not exactly a character that hugely stands out to me, but this is actually a pretty good introduction to him. I think, you know, the music helps. I was going to say one other thing about the music. What was it? There was a theme when they were looking over the dead Urankar at one point, which was really somber, and I thought that was a really nice theme to have as well. And then just to end on the ending of this episode, the outro, I thought it was pretty nice. The music was fine, but I liked how it was just the different Zanpakuto, all kind of like in a war-torn area and very conspicuously without their owners. I think something like this has been done before in one of the outros, but I think it was done better here. And then you see the captain cloaks as well, all in a big heap. It's a very nice little like, oh fuck, shit's going down. But like I said, I'm sure everything will be just fine. Anyway, let me know what you thought about in this episode down in the comments below. Thank you very much for listening to what I thought about this episode, and I will see you back here next week for more Bleach Tubu, Bleach Taibu. That's what I'm gonna call it. Tibu. No, Taibu. Please hit like and subscribe if you could do. It helps out the channel immensely. Oh, I really like that theme as well, but I think it might have been slightly overplayed in this episode. Okay, I'm going now. Bye.